Have you ever wondered why certain foods suddenly explode on your feed? Why one week everyone is eating rainbow-colored donuts, the next week it's spicy chicken sandwiches, and the week after that, some bizarre wellness drink seems to be everywhere at once? This isn't just random. Behind the filters, hashtags, and influencers lies a hidden system, one that shapes not just what you see, but what you crave, and even what you believe about food itself. The food industry and social media aren't just partners in marketing. Together they form a machine, carefully engineered to manipulate appetite, steer trends, and keep us hooked on products that make corporations billions while leaving us sicker, more dependent, and less in control. Is this just clever advertising? Or something closer to a global conspiracy of control hidden in plain sight on your phone? Before we uncover the truth, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our deep dives into conspiracies shaping the world around us. Because what you're about to learn might change the way you look at every bite you take. If you think the manipulation of our diets through social media is a new phenomenon, think again. The truth is, these tactics have been in play for decades. Long before TikTok dances and Instagram reels, the food industry was already learning how to control public opinion. And they took lessons from one of the most infamous conspiracies of the 20th century, big tobacco. When cigarettes started facing public backlash, the tobacco industry didn't just sit back and lose profits. They fought back with money, influence, and deception. They funded scientists to publish independent research that cast doubt on whether smoking was really harmful. They built fake grassroots groups to make it seem like ordinary citizens were defending their right to smoke. And they mastered the art of advertising that didn't just sell a product but a lifestyle. Sound familiar? The food industry was watching closely. By the 1960s and 70s, sugar companies were already paying Harvard researchers to downplay the dangers of sugar and shift the blame to fat. Meat and dairy boards launched nationwide checkoff campaigns, flooding TV, radio, and magazines with slogans like "Got milk?" or "Beef." It's "What's for dinner?" These weren't harmless ads. They were coordinated efforts to rewire how entire generations thought about nutrition. And here's the kicker. When social media was born, the food industry didn't have to reinvent the wheel. They simply upgraded the same tactics, research manipulation, fake grassroots support, lifestyle marketing, and ported them straight into the digital world. What started as magazine spreads and TV jingles has evolved into viral TikToks, influencer posts, and algorithm-boosted food trends. The playbook is the same, only now it's faster, more targeted, and infinitely harder to see through. Welcome to the new supermarket. Except this one doesn't have aisles or shopping carts. It lives in your pocket, glowing at you 24/7, and it knows exactly how to tempt you. On Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, food isn't just food, it's content. Every dripping burger close-up, every rainbow-colored frappuccino, every over-the-top mukbang feast, eating is designed to make you feel something, to crave, to click, to share. And guess what? None of it is random. Fast food giants, snack brands, and even beverage companies pour billions into making sure their products don't just show up in your feed. They dominate it. They collaborate with influencers to stage viral taste tests and limited edition drops. They seed challenges that make junk food look fun, daring, or even rebellious. And behind it all, the algorithm is watching, boosting the loudest, most extreme, most addictive content. Think about it. How many times have you seen a massive milkshake stacked with donuts and candy bars rack up millions of views? Or a secret menu hack at a fast food chain suddenly blow up overnight? These aren't just quirky internet accidents. They're marketing campaigns disguised as organic trends, covert billboards hidden in plain sight. In the old days, you walked through a grocery store and brands fought for your attention with packaging and price. Today, they fight for your attention with dopamine-triggering videos engineered to go viral. Social media has become the global dining table, and the food industry has the best seat in the house. But there's an even more dangerous player at this table, one you can't see, one you can't control. The invisible chef who decides what gets served up to billions of people every single day. And that's the algorithm. If the algorithm is the invisible chef, then influencers are the high priests of the new digital religion. They stand at the altar of our feeds, preaching lifestyles, showing us what to eat, how to live, and even what to believe about our own health. And the scary part? Most of us don't even realize we're following their sermons. Influencers are trusted because they feel real. They're not glossy TV commercials. They're people in bedrooms, kitchens, gyms, and cars speaking directly to you. Here's what I eat in a day. My new favorite snack. This protein shake changed my life. But behind so many of those posts, it's a contract, a brand deal, or a quiet paycheck from the very corporations they claim to casually mention. The line between authenticity and advertising has dissolved. A post might look like a friend's honest recommendation, but in reality, it's a strategically placed ad. And when millions of followers watch, trust, and copy these influencers, the impact is far greater than any billboard could ever achieve. Now think of it like this. In the past, food companies hired actors to smile in commercials. Today, they hire younger, cooler, relatable figures who can blend the ad seamlessly into their lifestyle. Instead of selling you a burger, they show you how that burger fits into a cheat day. Instead of promoting a soda and they casually sip it during a dance challenge, it's not advertising anymore. It's indoctrination. And here's the twist. Many influencers don't even see themselves as part of the machine, unless they think they're just hustling, making content, building a brand. But in the bigger picture, they're pawns on a corporate chessboard, preaching a gospel written by the food industry itself. We think we're choosing who to follow, but in reality, the industry has chosen our profits for us. So far, we've peeled back the curtain and seen how the food industry has been manipulating us for decades. First with shady research, then with glossy ad campaigns, and now through social media. We've seen how our feeds have become the new supermarket shelves, how influencers act like modern-day priests preaching the gospel of consumption, and how none of this is as organic as it looks. But here's the chilling part. None of these players not the brands, not the influencers, hold the ultimate power. There's something bigger, something invisible, quietly pulling the strings. It decides what you see, what you don't see, and what spreads like wildfire around the world. And that, my friends, is the algorithm, the invisible chef of the masses. If there's one thing the food industry has mastered, it's turning a crisis into an opportunity. But here's the trick. Sometimes the crisis isn't discovered and it's created. Think about it. One year, everyone's panicking about sugar. The next, fat is the enemy. Then it's carbs. Then it's gluten. Then suddenly, artificial sweeteners are the villain of the week. Every few years, a new dietary monster is pushed into the spotlight. And just when consumers are terrified enough to change their habits, the industry steps in with a shiny new solution. Conveniently, another product they can sell. Sugar under fire? Here, try our zero-calorie soda. Meat facing backlash? Don't worry, we've got lean and heart-healthy cuts. Plant-based foods gaining momentum? Suddenly, the meat and dairy lobbies are funding viral TikToks claiming plant burgers are ultra-processed poison. It's a rigged game. The same system that creates the fear offers the cure. And social media makes it happen at lightning speed. Influencers debate endlessly. Hashtags trend. And suddenly the public is divided into warring camps. Team Keto versus Team Vegan, eating Whole30 versus GIOPFYM. But no matter who wins, the corporations do. Because while we argue, they sell us the next product, the next diet, the next trend. It's a classic sleight of hand. Distract the audience with a crisis, then sell them the solution. A magician's trick, only this time the magic show is happening on TikTok. And the price of admission is your health, your money, and your trust. And the scariest part? The crises never end, because as long as they can control the problem and the solution, they'll always control the menu. We've seen how the industry creates fake food wars and sells us the solutions. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. The food corporations don't just want your money. They want you. Or more specifically, your data. Every like, every share, every comment on a food post is a digital breadcrumb. That midnight craving search for best late-night snacks, log, that binge of TikToks about protein shakes, stored. That Instagram reel you rewatched of someone biting into a gooey burger, analyzed, categorized, and sold. Food companies aren't just marketing anymore, they're mining. They buy access to your habits, your moods, even your insecurities. If you search weight loss hacks, don't be surprised when ads for guilt-free cookies start following you around. If you linger too long on a candy review video, guess what? Candy bar ads are coming. And it doesn't stop at targeting what you like. With enough data, they can predict what you'll crave before you even know it yourself. Your scroll patterns, your engagement times, even the words you type give them a detailed psychological profile. Think about that. Food companies know when you're stressed, when you're hungry, and when you're vulnerable. And they strike at the perfect moment with an ad that feels less like a suggestion and more like destiny. In the old world, corporations controlled supply chains. In the new world, they control desire itself. And here's the darkest twist. While we think we're consuming food content, the reality is flipped. We are the ones being consumed by a system that eats our data, digests our behavior, and spits it back out as targeted manipulation. This isn't just about selling snacks anymore. It's about feeding the machine. Here's the real secret of the food industry's power. It's not just about what's on your plate. It's about what's happening inside your brain. Modern foods aren't made to simply feed you. They're engineered to hook you. Hyper-palatable snacks loaded with the perfect balance of sugar, fat, and salt light up your brain's reward system like fireworks. Each bite delivers a dopamine rush, the same neurotransmitter linked to gambling, social media likes, even drug addiction. Now imagine that same dopamine hit paired with the validation of the digital world. You don't just eat the cookie, you film it, post it, and watch the likes roll in. Double dopamine. The pleasure of the food plus the pleasure of social approval, reinforcing each other in a cycle that feels impossible to break. This isn't accidental. Food scientists spend years fine-tuning flavors, textures, and aromas to trigger cravings. Social platforms amplify the most extreme indulgent content because it keeps people scrolling. Together, they create a perfect storm. A feedback loop that conditions us like lab rats pressing the lever for another pellet. See arrow crave, arrow consume, arrow post, arrow repeat. The industry doesn't just sell products anymore. They've hacked human psychology. They know exactly how to keep you hooked, not just on the food, but on the experience of food in the digital age. Every share, every bite strengthens the invisible chains. And here's the terrifying part. Once your body and mind are wired into this loop, freedom doesn't feel like freedom anymore. Cravings feel like choices. Manipulation feels like desire. It's not just control of your diet, it's control of your dopamine. So far, we've uncovered how the food industry doesn't just fill our plates, it rewires our brains. We've seen how every bite, every scroll, every like feeds into a cycle of craving and control, a system designed not to nourish us, but to hook us deeper. But here's the catch. What happens when people start looking for a way out? When consumers turn to small farmers, organic produce, or alternative diets that threaten the corporate machine? You'd think the internet, the so-called free marketplace of ideas, would give everyone a voice. But that's not how the game is played, because when alternatives rise, the system doesn't just ignore them, it silences them. In the next part, we'll expose how the food industry and its digital allies suppress competition, censor independent voices, and make sure only the corporate-approved message gets served on your feed. This isn't just marketing anymore. This is information warfare. Whenever a system gains total control, there's always one threat it fears most: alternatives. Independent voices, competing narratives, real choice. And make no mistake, the food industry treats alternatives like enemies of the state. On the surface, social media looks like a place where anyone can share their ideas. But dig a little deeper and you'll see how the deck is stacked. Small organic producers, local farmers, or activists promoting simple, whole foods often struggle to get any traction online. Why? Because they don't have the ad budgets to boost their content, and the algorithm doesn't reward them. Meanwhile, corporate-backed campaigns have millions in funding, teams of strategists, and influencer armies at their disposal. Their content floods the feed, drowning out the the independents. And sometimes, the suppression isn't subtle. Posts that challenge the mainstream food narrative mysteriously get flagged as misinformation. Hashtags tied to alternative diets are shadow banned, making it nearly impossible for them to trend. Creators who criticize ultra-processed products suddenly find their reach plummet, all while flashy junk food stunts go viral without a problem. The industry hides behind the words like safety or community guidelines. But ask yourself this: who decides what's safe to say? Who benefits when the voices calling for less processed food get silenced while billion-dollar brands are amplified? This isn't just censorship. It's corporate gatekeeping disguised as digital order. It ensures that when you open your feed, the menu is carefully curated. Fast food, processed snacks, sugar-packed drinks. The message is clear. Eat what we serve, question nothing else. In a world where every alternative voice can be erased with a single algorithmic switch, freedom of choice in food becomes an illusion. The table looks full, but the only dishes left are the ones the industry wants you to taste. And the reach of this machine doesn't stop at your neighborhood, your country, or even your culture. Because what's happening on your feed is also happening everywhere else, across oceans, across continents, shaping diets on a global scale. What happens when the same machine that controls your cravings is unleashed across the globe? You get a world where billions of people, from New York to Nairobi, from Tokyo to tiny villages, are being served the same menu. American fast food giants and snack corporations don't just dominate your city, they dominate the internet. A single TikTok trend born in Los Angeles can ripple out in hours, reaching Brazil, India, and Europe before the day is over. Suddenly, teenagers in completely different cultures are all trying the same fries, the same sodas, the same candy-colored drinks, all because the algorithm made it go viral. Local food traditions, recipes passed down for generations, are being pushed aside. Instead, we get homogenized global flavors engineered to sell everywhere. The result? Independent farmers and small food cultures can't compete. Diverse crops shrink, replaced by mass-produced corn, soy, wheat, and sugar, the backbone ingredients of processed food. And who benefits from this global menu? The same handful of corporations locking entire nations into supply chains they control. When every country eats from the same table, it's not culture anymore. It's commerce. Think about the symbolism. Food has always been at the heart of identity. To share a meal is to share heritage, community, belonging. But when the same megabrands feed us all, our cultural identity is eroded, replaced with the standardized corporate flavor. This isn't globalization by accident. It's globalization by design. A deliberate effort to make the world's diet predictable, profitable, and easy to dominate. One menu, one system, one set of masters. And once you control the world's dinner table, you don't just control appetite, you control the future. We've seen how the industry silences alternatives and how social media spreads one corporate menu across the globe. From your local feed to entire nations, the same patterns repeat. One flavor, one system, one machine. But that raises the biggest question of all. Why? Why spend billions to dominate our feeds, to standardize our diets, to erase food traditions and replace them with processed sameness? What's the real goal behind this massive operation? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about burgers, sodas, or snacks. This is about something much darker. Control. In the next part, we'll reveal the true endgame of the food industry's alliance with social media. And it goes far beyond dinner. Up until now, we've been talking about food, what we eat, what we crave, what shows up on our feeds. But if you think this conspiracy ends at the dinner table, you're only seeing the appetizer. The real goal isn't just to sell you snacks, it's to control you. Think about it. A population hooked on processed foods becomes predictable. Predictable in their shopping habits, predictable in their health outcomes, predictable in their dependence on corporations. When people are constantly tired, overweight, or battling preventable diseases, they're not rising up. They're not challenging systems of power. They're too busy trying to survive. Food becomes a silent weapon, a tool to keep entire societies docile, distracted, and dependent. And all the while, the very corporations creating the problem position themselves as the saviors, offering healthier product lines, funding wellness apps, even sponsoring public health campaigns. They create the sickness, then sell the cure. But it goes deeper. Once a handful of mega corporations control the global food supply, they gain leverage over governments themselves. Politicians can be pressured through lobbying. Policies can be written to protect profits. And when crises hit, from inflation to climate disasters, whoever controls the food supply controls the people. This is the true endgame, a system where food is no longer just nourishment, but a chain, a leash, a way to keep billions of people under quiet, invisible control. And the scariest part? Most people will never see it, because the system doesn't need bars or fences. It doesn't need force. It just needs cravings, convenience, and a constant drip of dopamine. When control tastes sweet, salty, and satisfying, who's going to question the hand that feeds them? So now you know. The food on your plate, the ads in your feed, the influencers you trust, even the cravings you feel, none of it is as innocent as it seems. Piece by piece, the food industry and social media have built a system of control. One that feeds our bodies, rewires our minds, and shapes the future of entire societies. The question is, now that you've seen the truth, what will you do with it? Will you keep scrolling, keep consuming, keep playing into their hands? Or will you start questioning every trend, every ad, every random food craze that lands on your feed? Because the power to break the spell doesn't lie with the corporations, it lies with you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video opened your eyes. And remember, most of you watching right now aren't subscribed yet, so if you want to see more deep dives into conspiracies just like this one, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss what's coming next. Together, we can pull back the curtain, one video at a time, stay aware, stay questioning, and stay hungry for the truth.